started from the very scratch. I mean, and also it illustrates symbolically that it was the launch of Amazon was really something that you did together.
Oh yeah,
could you
for
describe
sure.
a little bit what Mackenzie's role was?
Well, first of all, Mackenzie, she had married this stable guy working on Wall Street, and a year after we got married, I went to her and said, I want to quit my job, move across the country, and start this internet bookstore. And Mackenzie, of course, like everybody that I explained this to, her first question was, what's the internet? Because nobody knew. This is 1994. And but even before she could say what's the internet, she said, "Great, let's go," because she wanted to support it, and she knew that I had always had this passion for invention and starting a company. And so, again, I think Mackenzie is an example of this. But I was talking about with my mom and my dad, who's a Cuban immigrant, and he came to the U.S. when he was 16 and refugee camp in the Everglades. They're so loving and supportive that when you have loving and supportive people in your life, like Mackenzie, my parents, my grandfather, my grandmother, you end up being able to take risk, because I think it's one of those things. It doesn't. You kind of know somebody's got your back. And so it's just I don't even think you're thinking about it logically. It's an emotional thing. So for
That's really interesting. You think that unconditional love, if you feel and experience unconditional love,
I think it helps you take risk in life. And by the way, I think it's probably true of all kinds of risks in life, not just starting a business. I mean, life is full of different risks. And I think that when you think about the things that you will regret when you're 80, they are almost always the things that you did not do. They are acts of omission. Very rarely are you going to regret something that you did and it failed and didn't work or whatever. But the acts of omission, the thing, it's not, and again, I'm not just talking about business things. It's like, I loved that person and I never told them. And then, 50 years later, you'd be like, why didn't I tell her? Why didn't I go after it? So that's the kind of life regret that is very hard to be happy about when you're telling yourself in a private moment that story of your life. So I think it's anyway, I've won that lottery. I won that lottery of having so many people in my life who have given me that unconditional love. And I do think, Mackenzie's definitely one of those. And so we moved, and then Mackenzie, who has basically no skill in this area at all, really, I mean, you're the least suited person for this. She did our accounting. For like the first year. Was it the first year? Something like that. And she did it well. I mean, that's what's amazing. My wife is a novelist. She's won the American Book Award. Toni Morrison, the Nobel Prize winning author, who was Mackenzie's teacher at Princeton.
So did she suggest then to do a bookstore?
Said on the Charlie Rose show that Toni Morrison, the Nobel Prize winner, said about Mackenzie that Mackenzie was her best student ever. And so anyway, Mackenzie is a very talented novelist, but she is not an accountant. But she pulled it off. And then, just we all get done what we need to get done.
Did she then suggest that you focus on book business at the beginning? Being an author?
No, I picked
That was your idea?
I picked books. It is true, she's a big reader, I'm a big reader, but that's not why I picked books. I picked books because there were more items in the book category than any other category, and so you could build universal selection. There were 3 million in 1994 when I was pulling this idea together. The 3 million different books active and in print at any given time. And the largest physical bookstores only had about 150,000 different titles. And so I could see how you could make a bookstore online with universal selection. Every book ever printed, even the out-of-print ones, was the original vision for the company. And so that's why books.